Welcome to Nineworks TV. Now, chances are when you step into a lavish showroom, such as the one here at Harbour Cars, looking to buy a Porsche, one of the first questions you're likely to ask a member of sales staff is, how many previous owners has the car had? Or does it really matter how many previous owners a car has? What does it tell you about the history? And should it be something we should really put that much weight on going forward? We're going to answer all of those questions today by speaking to not one but two different specialists from the Nineworks marketplace. We'll start with Chris here at Harbour Cars. Chris, thanks for having us here at Harbour Cars to talk about the ownership proposition. So when people are looking for Porsches in your lovely showroom and everywhere else, how soon is the question asked, how many previous owners has this Porsche had?
I think that depends on whether they've got experience with the brand to start with. So if they're coming into Porsche, it's something that people inherently ask a question, how many owners does the car have? And some people can be shocked when you turn around and say a 5-year-old car has 4 owners. It's really like, what's wrong with that? But obviously, as we know, as Porsche enthusiasts, part of the experience of Porsche is chopping and changing the car. So you'll regularly see a 5-year-old car with 4 owners on it. It's not unusual. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the car. It just means that the owners have gone from, I don't know, let's say a Carrera through to a Carrera Turbo, or sorry, through to a Turbo or something like that, or even diverted and gone to a Cayman, Boxster, just chopped and changed. They're the sort of thing that they're aspirational cars. A lot of people come in, start with a 911, then want to, try Cayman, try GT4, try Boxster, or may even just try a different model, go to a newer model. So it's not uncommon for people to chop and change 18 months, a year. It wouldn't be something that we'd frown upon and look at it if we're offered a car and, it's got 3 owners that have had it for a year. It's quite normal.
Okay, so if, where you buy all of your stock here at Harbour Cars, how important is the number of previous owners to you in comparison to other metrics?
So I think, in terms of things like service history, mileage, condition, provenance, they would probably outweigh a significant factors in terms of ownership. So if a car came into us, particularly something like, let's say a 997 Gen 2, something slightly older than the 991s that most people see us dealing with now, and we had a 2011 Gen 2 that came in with 5 or 6 owners on it, obviously that's relatively good ownership in terms of the Porsche world. But if it had impeccable service history, really good spec, it could trace everything through, stuff that, we want to be able to supply our customers, that's great news. The owners would be quite easily overlooked on something like that. Really? So service history, provenance, condition, it's all key. We could quite easily explain 6 owners on a car that's from 2011. That's quite easy. 6 owners on a car from 2024, slightly more difficult. Yeah. But it's something that with cars like that, provenance, history, condition.
Okay, so it all feeds into a bigger picture, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, exactly. Interesting. Does that sentiment, well, not the sentiment, in terms of number of owners, is there a difference with GT cars? I.e., do GT cars tend to have like more previous owners or less? They
can do, because obviously GT cars will initially likely sell for overs. So something like a GT3, particularly when they first come out, the launch of the new GT3, they're quite hard to get on the list, quite hard to get. So there's a good chance that somebody's going to sell a GT3 and make a little pocket money out of it and then go on to something else. The next person buying it probably knows they're paying more than they would do for it normally, but they can't get on the list to get one, so they're quite happy with that. They'll run it for a bit, they'll do a track day, they'll do a holiday, they'll then sell it on to somebody else. So you will see GT cars in particular change hands quite initially early on in life, but then that will probably slow down as they get older. So people will keep them for a couple of years, particularly when you get to, again, 997 GT3s, 991 Gen 1 GT3s, the ownership rates are likely slowing down now. So particularly with the 997s, they would have had their day. People are now buying them to keep rather than buying them to experience them and then move on to something else, a different Porsche, a different brand, something along those lines.
It's really good to get this insight because, as a buying public, it's just one of the first questions we ask. Almost unqualified, because when you think about it, what does it really tell us about the car?
Well, one of the other things about ownership is when you look at a car, let's again take the example of a 5-year-old car with 4 owners. That car's had 4 warranty periods. It's had 4 honeymoon periods where somebody's got it, they've treasured it, they've looked after it, they've kept it dry, they've cleaned it after every drive. It's had 4 periods of, if there are any problems with it, it's been covered under a warranty or under a scheme, so it's gone back in, it's been repaired properly. And then you take a car that's, let's say, 5 or 6 years old with 1 owner on it, you're going to forgive yourself for nicking the wheel on a curb when you've parked it after 4 years, because you'll go, "Oh, I'll do that another day." You know, things do tend to get a little bit more overlooked when you're complacent with your car. So sometimes high owners isn't necessarily a bad thing. One owner cars are obviously great news. Yeah, they're really, really nice to have. But I certainly wouldn't disregard cars that have gone through different honeymoon periods, different ownership, different inspections, you know, different retail outlets that have had them, because each one of them has been bought, prepared, warranted and loved. And likewise, that's gone over and over 4 or 5 times in the 5 or 6 years, you know, that the car has aged. So
excellent, excellent. Brilliant insight, Chris. Thank you very much for your time here at Harbour Cars.
no, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming down.
Jay, thanks for having us back here at Paragon again.
Well, it's lovely as always to see you.
We want to talk about the number of owners, previous owners on a Porsche sports car. Off the bat, does it matter?
We're going to have to deal in generalisms, but not to us, not really. It's still on our appraisal form when we're looking at a car. So I suppose there is still a value, a weighting to it or whatever. But honestly, for us, it's all about the condition of the car, condition. And sometimes the opposite of what we as car buyers as we were growing up were taught can be true, i.e. we always used to think, you know, low number of owners must be better, you know, cherished ownership for a long period of time. Well, as often as not, that's actually not the case, because if you have a car that's been in a very, very long-term ownership, then for a certain period of time it can be that it's taken for granted as opposed to cherished. So that's one thing. I mean, as I say, this is generalism. It doesn't hold for everybody. You know, some people buy their car, have it forever, and love it for every single day that they've got it. The other thing is, though, that when we see, for example, a lot of our cars that we buy are cars that we've bought previously, that we've prepared, that we've spent boatloads of money on with Peter upstairs. And, you know, and then we buy back. You know, they maintain with us, and then we buy them back because we want those cars, because hopefully this time around we won't have to spend quite so much money prepping it to the ultimate standard. And then we do it again. Now, if you have a car that has been prepped, you know, through here 5 times, that car is going to be pretty bloody special, you know, in the market. Other than it's now going to have whatever 7, 8. As I say, this is generalism stuff, and this is experiential, but no.
Why do like modern GT cars seem to have a higher proportion of owners relative to their age than non-GT cars? That seems to be a trend that I've noticed.
Yeah, that's true, and also probably turbo and stuff like that.
Okay.
Often there are a group of people that are fortunate enough to be able to buy those cars. Great, and they always want the latest. So, you know, that's the first one. There's some of those cars which Porsche will be using as a demonstration car, a showroom car or whatever, so it's probably that. So therefore, all of a sudden we've got 2 owners, which, you know. And then, but those guys only have it for a very short period of time, the first owner, and then they're on to the next thing. But those cars are still hot because everyone's super excited about GT cars, rightly. And, you know, there's a big buzz about them, so somebody else tries it. With the GT cars, you know, they're fabulous. We love them to pieces, but they're not right for everybody. And some people will only find that out, actually, once they've owned it as well. So, you know, there's that. With the turbos, it's very much, it seems to be, you know, the latest 911 turbo is always the best all-round supercar that there is, the usable thing and all that sort of stuff, and it's the best in the market. And so they tend to be bought in a similar sort of manner, but maybe more for sort of slightly fashionable reasons. And also, it has to be said, the values thing. I mean, if those cars with the GT product or whatever, if it comes out, it creates a tremendous splash. There's an enormous overs market for those cars. Then some people are obviously buying them to, you know, make some money and that sort of stuff. And it can happen for a little while, that several people can, and then all of a sudden it changes and you don't want to be the one that's got it wrong at that point. But
Yeah.
but that's case in fact in point that does happen.
Okay. With like the older, say like air-cooled stuff.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody give reference to how many owners it's got or had. In the buying process.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering like
At what
where's
point
that?
does it? At what point does it become? Well, I don't think it ever becomes irrelevant, and it depends probably on who you're talking to. We've got a chap here at the moment that's actually interested in an air-cooled car that we've got, and that question has been asked, but it was only after 20 minutes of discussion about something else. Yeah, when you get back to a 1970s car, let's say we were talking about an RS, 27 RS or whatever, I mean, the last thing anyone's going to be concerned about is actually the number of owners on it. No one's going to think about it.
What do you consider to be more important that buyers should be asking, or potential buyers should be asking, when they're visiting places, rather than how many owners has it had?
Just about everything. Yeah. Who's done what to it? Is there evidence of those things? Are there holes in the history? And just getting an eye for condition, and backup. And what are you, Mr. Purveyor of Porsche? What are you guaranteeing that, or what are you guaranteeing that this car is and can do? And if it doesn't, where am I in that situation? It's almost everything other than, that's the last thing I'm thinking about is really number of owners. We do ask it still, because, if it is a lot, then it is a conversation that we're going to have a bit more education and that sort of stuff. But it's not a worry.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, well, hopefully this educational video will help that battle and help kind of change that misconception. I'd say it's a misconception, because I think people put undue weight on it.
Yeah.
When really,
I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, Jason at Paragon, thank you as always for your time and expertise.
Right. Well, thank you very much for turning up with the camera, sticking me in front of it with a massive amount of hair again. Right.
I'm definitely leaving that in there as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.